YouTube, thank you for coming back to the channel. In this video, I want to talk solely about mindset and why you actually have the opportunity to create your own reality. So let's get right into the video. Now, this morning, I'm going to take you guys back to a brief story. This morning when I woke up, I was listening to a motivational video, really just a speech where the individual was talking about his failures, his successes, etc. And one thing that he was talking about that sparked my interest was on mindset and how we actually have the ability to create our own. And so I decided I would hop on here and give my own spin on it. So when it comes to mindset, think about it, think through. It's a mindset. You are literally setting your mind, right? And so when we start to break down that mindset is something that we have control over. And when we also start to look at the fact that the word decide means to cut out all other distractions, all other options, and to actually, just isolate the goal, then we can start to realize one, we have the choice to create the space inside our brain to allow us to believe it's possible. And B, we also have the decision to cut out distractions. And so if you're holding on to, maybe some place in the past that you were, whether that be physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, whatever, and you're trying to go to the next place in your life, whether that be setting yourself free from the limiting beliefs that you hold on yourself, setting yourself free from the lack of confidence, all these sorts of things, I want you to understand that you truly have the ability to change this thing, because it all starts with our mindset. So if you're in a circumstance right now where you're not happy with, you have the ability to shift your mindset and to shape your perception around that thing, because the way that we look at things is really our perception. So it all depends on how you're looking at these things. If, for example, you're running into a challenge and a problem, you can look at the negative and the downfall, which is never going to help you, with the exception of giving you feedback, right? But if you look at the positive side of, I'm going to grow, I'm going to improve, I'm going to learn and get stronger from this, then that allows you to realize we have both options. And if we can choose how to frame our mind, and this leads to how we perceive and feel about things going on in our life, then we can literally choose how we enjoy our lives, right? Like if we're not in a situation that we're happy with, we can put ourselves mentally in an environment where we are getting to that point, but even in that middle process, we're still enjoying it because we're looking at the positive side. And I think a lot of times in life, myself included, we want to get to this end destination so bad, but we have the old mindset from the previous version of ourselves, and it never works that way. Because think about it, if you're trying to take actions as a new individual, but the thought patterns you're having are conflicting with those actions, then you're never going to take the actions. Example, if you are somebody that tells yourself, I can't lose body fat, I can't lose weight, then when you have the thought of, okay, I should probably not eat this food right now, or I should probably, do more cardio, I should probably follow through on the plan. Every time you have that thought, you end up saying like, I'm not going to do it, right? Because you have that conflicting limiting belief telling you that you don't deep down think it's good enough, like think it's possible for you, right? And you don't think you can achieve it. So mindset, again, something that we can literally set into our mind, is what determines our perception. And if our thoughts and our perception create the actions that we take and lead to us taking new, different, or the same actions, then why would we not, set ourselves up for success, right? Why would you not manufacture and put your brain into an environment whereby it can yield the best result, it can get, the most, and actually achieve these things? Now, let me break down how you can actually start to shift your mindset. Because again, I don't think anybody wants just a tough mindset. Oftentimes we want a tangible result, but we need to understand that we need that mindset to get that result. Now, before I explain any further, what I'll say is the mindset is the one thing that carries you over and allows you to have that enjoyment of life, have that confidence, right? You just getting gifted that goal does not do anything for you. It's how you develop yourself, how you improve along the journey, the person you become, and the mindset starting to shift. Because what I found with myself and what clients of mine have told me is that they start with the gym, with exercise, and they have the mindset for that. And then that carries over into their nutrition, which then carries into their social life, their relationships, their friends, etc. Because one avenue of life will factor into all avenues of life, right? So if you go all in and you are committed to your goals in the gym, it's going to be very, very easy. And eventually you will start becoming this individual that easily does these things in all avenues of life. So, okay, now you're putting more work into your relationships, you're putting more work into your finances, into your career, because you know that you are a disciplined, motivated person that does the exact same thing physically in the gym, right? And so let's talk now about how we can actually, manufacture our brain to put it into the environment that's going to breed success. So we've talked a lot about mindset. Now, mindset is crucial, right? But how do we actually unlock that mindset? Well, it starts with a couple of things, and these are things that directly have helped me. These are things that I've implemented into my clients' programs, and these are also things that I've recommended to family members, friends. Whether or not they follow through beats me, but what I will say is the ones that follow through and actually implement these habits, they start to see tangible results, and they're very easy, simple to follow through with habits. But you see, most people, they don't see the long-term vision. They don't deep down believe that it's possible, and so because of that, back to my initial point, their thoughts and their actions are conflicting, which means that they are not going to take these actions. And even if they do take the actions, they're not going to take them consistently and effectively, because they have a limiting belief, something that in their back of their mind is literally telling them, like, bro, this is an idea that will never work. And so you need to break down and fight through that. And I say that the best way to do that is get into the gym, get consistent with building muscle, get consistent with losing weight, whatever your goal is, get consistent with that. And because of that, you will realize that you have so much strength in the gym, you have so much, energy, etc. But these things carry over into other avenues of your life. And now you're realizing that it's that much easier, to go on a brief walk on your lunch break rather than scrolling on your phone, because you've consistently disciplined yourself, right? And it's that much easier to read 10 pages or 20 pages of a book because you've told yourself you're going to do so. And so it's these small habits, these small acts of discipline that pick up, and over time we develop these as habits, right? And these habits now are seeped into who we are as a person, and pretty soon these are just character traits, right? Where now you just have the character traits of a motivated, disciplined, strong individual. And how exactly is it that we can get to that point? Well, number one, again, is we need to have the proper mindset. Once we have the proper mindset, that is going to allow us to yield into our fitness. So if we have a mindset that we can, accomplish these things, that we can lift more weight, that we can lose the weight, and all these sorts of things, we can gain muscle, then pretty soon you're in the gym and you're keeping that confidence high, and your thoughts are aligned with your actions. So the thoughts of you being able to build more muscle, the thoughts of you being able to lose more weight, the thoughts of you being able to get to 8% body fat instead of staying at 12, right? Like these sorts of small changes, these are only possible if you have the mindset that you can achieve it. So have that mindset that, like, okay, watch me do this task, watch me gain 20 pounds of muscle. If you deep down in your mind believe that's possible, you have to force yourself into believing it's possible. And sometimes it might be easier than others, but like if you can force yourself to believe that it's possible to achieve these goals, then your subconscious and your conscious thought patterns all sync back to that, brother. And so when your thought patterns and your actions are, linked like that, you cannot lose, because you're telling yourself, I'm going to do these actions and take these necessary daily steps. And you're taking those necessary daily actions and steps. And it's just this, this back and forth where the more that you're confident, the more that you take action, but also the more action you take, the more it leads into your confidence increasing. And so it's a seesaw effect. But the thing is, the seesaw is always going to be evenly balanced, right? We're going to have high confidence and we're going to have high goals being achieved, right? Like we cannot have high confidence and low goals. It means that your confidence isn't truly high and that seesaw kind of starts to swing, right? And the opposite is true. You can't be consistently doing these actions but not yield the benefit of having that mindset from it and having that confidence. They go hand in hand. So start with one, it will lead into the other. Understand that you need the mindset and you need the actions. You need both. And that's why so many people get stuck. Is they're doing all the actions, they're doing all the work, they're doing the ice baths, they're going to the gym 6-7 times a week, they're tracking, quote unquote, their macros, but they're not. Because if you were truly tracking your macros, you would be losing weight or gaining muscle, and it is that simple. Most people say they're tracking macros. They say 3,500 calories, give or take. Like, bro, you're just guessing off the top of your head. You have no idea how much food is actually going in, and you have no idea how much you're actually burning every day. So when people say, I'm getting in this much, most of the time they're capping. But that being said, if you are somebody that just track your food, that's great. But you need to make sure that, you're actually following through. Follow through with the tasks, and you will see results. Now, let me give you a few other ideas of how to actually get yourself in this primed mentality, this mindset, so that you can start taking these goals. Because as I mentioned, it is a seesaw where the more confidence you gain, the more progress you see, and the more action you take, the more confidence you gain, and vice versa, right? But oftentimes at the beginning, where we're not seeing as much tangible result as we would like, that is when it's very, very challenging, because we have to tip that seesaw, in a sense, up much higher. We have to mentally bring that up. We have to start to break down, these thought patterns and actually force ourselves into believing it's possible, even before we're starting to pick up steam and see these results, right? And so how do you put yourself into an environment where you have that mentality that believes it's possible? Well, the first and most important thing you need to do is look at your environment. And when I say environment, I mean, what types of people are you surrounding yourself with? Are these people that are uplifting? Or are these people that are telling you that you cannot achieve your goals? Are these people that are joking and laughing about you eating your salad and following your macros and like even smiling? Or are they the type of person that's like, yo, this is a hard individual, like I want to be like him, he's disciplined, right? Is this the type of person that's going to make you feel bad for working on yourself? Or is it the type of person that's going to be supportive and push you to be better, right? So if you're at a family function and you're eating healthy food and somebody says like, hey, come on, just enjoy yourself, that person, even though they're not trying to put you down, they are literally making it harder for you to execute on your goals. So you just have to be mindful of that if you're going to be surrounded by these people. Now, it's far easier to be surrounded by people that are on the same mission as you, or even better, people that are ahead of you, right? And so when I worked as an in-person trainer before transitioning into my online coaching, everybody around me, with the exception of a handful, most of them were eating very healthy foods, right? Like they're cutting out their junk food, they're eating their protein, right? They're consistently tracking their macros. And what happened as a byproduct, although I'm already doing these things, I get so much sharper, because now it's like, okay, not only am I feeling motivation for myself internally because I'm seeing more tangible progress every day, I'm feeling better, I'm getting leaner, my lifts are improving, all these sorts of things, but also I'm walking in every single day to my in-person training job, and I'm hearing these other trainers that are either as jacked or maybe even more jacked than me, and they're telling me what they're doing. So it's like, okay, it's this positive reinforcement where everybody here is winning. And now what I think is important is putting yourself in that environment, right? So find these people that are going to allow you to make these goals and having this mindset much, much easier. Because, bro, if you are surrounded by, like, I'm going to give an example here, but if you're living in a frat house and you're surrounded by all kids that just want to drink all day and that's all they're doing, but you're telling them that you're going to be a philosophist, or you're going to, start a business or something, they're going to look at you like you're absolutely insane, and they're constantly going to drag you down. That doesn't mean that they're purposely trying to, put you down, but they literally don't see the vision, right? And so you need to distance yourself from that person. And so that's just a brief example of okay, the people around you literally determine your environment, your perception, and these sorts of things. Now, if you are in a spot where you cannot change these, maybe it's your family, maybe it's your roommates, whoever, you need to understand that you can filter down that environment from everybody out here and in your physical environment to shift it into, okay, now it's just literally what's going on in my brain. So even when you're in an environment with these people, your brain is still focused on tunnel vision, achieving the goals, and not getting sidetracked, right? And once we have those people in our environment that are helping us get into that better spot, we realize that we're learning, we're growing. And some of that is, you having to be humble and say, like, I'm going to take a step back. I might be better than this person at something else, but, maybe they have some knowledge that I don't currently have, and so I'm going to learn, right? And so when I personally started to put myself in an environment with people that were, bodybuilders, people that were doing marathons, people that were personal trainers, nutrition coaches, dietitians, these sorts of things, physicians, doctors, oncologists, everybody, bro. When I started to just surround myself with these individuals, I learned so much, right? I learned so much about, okay, these are things that maybe I didn't know before, and this is new knowledge coming in, but also I'm realizing that you can start to create your own environment. And just because you have a specific goal that someone in your hometown or your friends or family don't have, that does not mean there are not people out there with those same goals. And so you can join a free community, you can, join a Facebook page, you can find an Instagram page, etc. You can even connect with people at your in-person gym that you work out at. Meet these people, make connections with them, and then start to just, surround yourself in this environment. And when doing that, you will notice certain things that they aren't doing that the other people that you're around are, right? And so, like, for me, for example, I always noticed the friends that I would have that we would work out together, we would meal prep together, all these sorts of things. They would never drink alcohol, right? They would never go out to the club. They would never party, right? They would rarely eat junk food. And it's like, okay, just because I'm around this person for so long and in this group, eventually I start to become part of that. And so once you guys understand that the people in your life surrounded by you, the people in your environment, and the information that's going in and the information that you're putting out there, these things are all affecting your confidence and the results that you have. So when you understand that there are people that do have the result that you want, you just simply need to model yourself after this individual. So try to uncover the mindset and the belief patterns that they hold for themselves, the values that they hold. Because when you understand that, you now can see how it makes it that much easier to follow through on all these action steps. And that's why these top fitness guys, myself, bodybuilders, whoever, this is why we stay consistent with the basic habits, right? Is because number one, we know that it's not difficult. It's just a few key action steps, a few key habits we need to keep up with. And most importantly, we enjoy the process, right? We know that physically we're looking better. Physically we're feeling better. Mentally we're feeling better. Mentally we're performing sharper, right? Confidence is improving. Muscle mass is increasing. We're getting leaner, right? Like testosterone's going up. All of these things, right? You're getting more, awareness around your actions. All of these things are positive reinforcements that what you're doing is working, bro. So keep doing it. Hammer down, double down. Why would you quit now if you're seeing progress? Now, that being said, you want to make sure that you're staying the course. So find a few key habits that you can really master, really get good at. Put yourself in that environment where these people are supporting you and pushing you to be your best. And oftentimes that's going to be uncomfortable. Oftentimes that's going to have to be you, really in a sense, dropping your ego, right? Because you know how much ego I had to drop as a certified personal trainer and a nutrition coach going in to a free assessment at a gym I joined just because I wanted to see if I could learn anything. Like, I had to drop my ego, and it's like, I'm more jacked than that dude, right? And like, I know how to lift better than him. And even some of the things we're doing, I'm like, I would never throw my client through this, right? But I still went to that free workout, one, because it's free from the gym I go to, but two, I'm like, how can I learn? Maybe if I can even, squeeze one drop of lemon out of the if I can squeeze one juice, I can't even talk right now, bro, but if I can squeeze one drop of juice from the lemon and learn, why would I not do that, right? So many people, they think they can do everything on their own, and they get stuck in that one spot. So find the information that's allowing you to take new risks, and that will lead you to the goals you want. But starting with the mindset, you need to have that proper mindset. So once you have the environment set up for success with those people around you, you also need to make sure that your physical body is optimized. So how do we go about doing that? Number one, first and most important, the first thing that you need to do, I'm not going to say cut out drinking and all this stuff, because I think that it should be sustainable. I think that if you are choosing to drink, you should do so moderately. And there are people that, step on stage and are bodybuilders and they had a drink the night before. So that being said, you don't need to cut out one thing or the other. But what you do need to do is you need to have discipline across the entire whole, right? And so what are those few key habits that are going to allow you to keep that discipline? So even when you make some poor choices or you fall off track, you're still following through with these few habits, and that makes it so that you're actually, seeing progress. Now, the one most important habit that has helped me is when it comes to nutrition, regardless of if I'm eating this way or that way, or this food or that food, or I'm on the go, or I'm driving somewhere, I need to stop at the store, or I'm on vacation, or I'm at a restaurant, whatever the case may be, there are always rules of thumbs that you need to live by. And this is allowing you to make sure you have progress year round. So when it goes to, your nutrition, you need to figure out what exactly is it that is your goal. Is your goal to build muscle? Okay, if your main goal is to build muscle, then you simply just need to focus on hitting your protein target every single day consistently, and you will watch as water weight and fat start to drop. Just focus on that one habit. And most people are going to say, what about calories? If you eat enough protein and you hit your protein target, your body will be building new muscle, shredding body fat, but also your appetite will be diminished, right? Over time, you're not going to want those cravings, that junk food. So it's so much easier if you're trying to build muscle by focusing on protein, right? Now, that's another concept I like to use with clients that want to lose body fat. It's because it's cutting your appetite by so much. And in addition, it doesn't feel like it's cutting your appetite. You enjoy eating these, high protein foods, and it's fueling you new muscle growth rather than fueling you new fat growth. Nobody wants more body fat, right? And so another habit that would be for somebody that, is trying to lose weight, lose body fat, keep their tone defined look, is understanding that when you go out to eat high carbohydrates in a meal or high fats in a meal, that is the rule of thumb that you should go by. Because if you do high fats and high carbs, the meal is going to be extremely calorie dense, and we don't need all these excess calories, right? So if you're going out for a meal, you could get something high in carbs. It also has protein, but it's lower in fats. It's going to make sure that you're in a good balance and you're not overeating and throwing your blood sugar through the roof, right? Now, the other case is true. If you keep your fats high and your carbs low, you're going to be in a good spot. But I think people just oftentimes go out and they eat and they have this, just eating routine, but they don't have a strategy behind it. And because of that, they're just eating all random foods at all random times. When I tell you that you can eat the foods you like and actually probably eat more of the foods you enjoy and more of those less quality foods, but actually get into better results and better shape just simply by following the step-by-step formula, then, you will start to see progress. Most people, they don't have any strategy, and so they're throwing golf balls in the ocean rather than hitting the golf ball with a putter into the hole, right? On the green. I don't play golf. But boys, ladies, gentlemen, you guys need to understand that a few key habits over the long term will always beat doing everything in the micro, because eventually you will fall off, right? And so what I want to wrap this video up is by saying that once you have the right mindset, once you've put yourself in an environment around people, whether that be in person or you just looking online and meeting these individuals and listening to podcasts, reading articles, etc., either way, you have the choice to choose which sort of information comes in and which sort of information you output. And if you put out information, just know that whatever you're putting out there will come back to you, right? So if you're telling yourself, I am an individual that gains lean muscle and prioritizes my health, then you will end up taking the actions that align with that individual. But if you tell yourself, I can't lose weight, I just can't seem to build muscle, I just can't seem to eat healthy, then guess what? You will continue feeding yourself reasons, not just consciously, but subconsciously, that you just can't do these things. And we don't want to be holding ourselves back in any way. We don't want these limiting beliefs on ourselves. What we want is to achieve success. And so if you want to achieve success, you need the proper mindset and you need to take these actions. Remember my analogy about the seesaw, you need both, and you cannot have one without the other. So always focus on your confidence. If you can focus on mastering a few key habits, eat this way, eat more of these foods, eat less of these foods, exercise more. It's really that simple. If you can focus on these over the long haul with a proper strategy that actually is not just you throwing golf balls in the dark, right? Like you're actually following this roadmap. You're going hole to hole in the mini golf course, for example, right? Like you're following the plan. You will see results, and then you'll realize that you, by following these 2 or 3 habits over 6 or 12 months, will yield you so much better results than you ever thought possible, and it will break you through the plateau you're in. Because instead of focusing on 9 or 10 habits now for 1 month and then falling off track, you're going to be developing these habits until eventually they become a part of your identity and your characteristics. So, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, frogs, fish, whoever is watching this, I appreciate you staying until the end. And just remember, you truly have the ability to shape your own future and what it is you want to do with your life, but you need to take the mindset in here and shift it into real life. So start the thoughts you're having, start tying them with the actions you're taking and vice versa. And if you don't do that, just understand that either way, even if you're not planning on doing these things, the things you say, the things you put out there, the thoughts you have will carry over into the actions you take, and those actions lead to the results you have. So you can choose, do you want those actions and those thought patterns to be all negative, to be feeding you garbage, and to be yielding a result that you don't want? Or do you want these things to be positive messages, fueling your body properly, proper nutrition, proper health, prioritizing nutrition, and explaining to yourself why it's so important and why you deserve to get into this optimal shape, this optimal health? When you do these things, brother, you are now aligning your habits and your actions and your thought patterns, and they all are meshing well. So if you can start with having the proper mindset and following through on these things, you'll notice that all of these areas of your life, especially when it comes to your health, your confidence, and just your overall perception on life, these things start to bear fruits and life gets a lot more enjoyable. So know that you truly have the power. You can choose the people around you. You can choose the information that goes into your brain. You can choose the types of activities you engage in. You can choose the foods that go into your body. And you can also choose the habits that make it easier or more challenging to follow through. So for example, if you're following through on these nutritional habits, you can make it much easier for yourself by understanding why you're doing these things and by developing, consistency. Because even with consistency, you notice that even in the beginning with nutrition, you don't have to eat junk. You don't have to eat unhealthy food. You don't have to eat healthy food. You can literally just hit your macros and get in a crazy shape, right? Like insane shape. But even if you do want to go the route of like eating bland, dry foods, which again, I don't think you need to go that route, you can slowly progress into, just getting better with your nutrition and get into phenomenal shape. But if you are somebody that does want to eat, these healthy organic foods and cut out the processed foods, even that to an extent will become easier because your body builds up this tolerance in a sense where it gets used to the foods that you're giving it. And so these bland, unflavored, dry foods, eventually you start to not mind them so much, and then eventually you start to enjoy them. And then eventually you start to crave these foods and you start to despise the other foods. And like this is a prime example, right? Like when I was really, really in this zone here, which I still am, but I was really, really like 6-7 meals a day consistently for a while. Now I've scaled back to about like 4, sometimes 5. But at that time, my metabolism, my appetite was so ramped up that literally like I would have chicken and pickles, or like a ground turkey with potatoes and veggies, whatever, right? And those are like the meals that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to eat this. And as soon as I ate the meal, I just felt like insane, bro, like amazing. Like, I had so much energy, and it's just like those sorts of foods, most people look at them as like, that's gross. But like what they don't understand is it only takes a couple of days, maybe a week at most, to have those feelings be adjusted, because you start to understand that our body adapts to its environment, right? And so, okay, if these foods are disgusting, if they're gross, if you don't like them, number one, you don't have to be that strict. You can start to slowly get yourself eating better quality choices. but also know that, okay, either way, you're going to get used to it. So are you going to start eating healthy foods that maybe don't taste good in the beginning, and then eventually get adjusted and enjoy them and want to eat more of them? Like, but when you're craving a steak and broccoli, like, it's a good feeling, right? But the other side of it is, okay, continue eating these unhealthy foods, making these unhealthy, poor choices, right? Dietary choices. And you become so wrapped up in this cycle where you get hooked into that, and it gets so much more difficult to go back to the healthy side. So boys, ladies, gentlemen, I appreciate you staying to the end, and make sure that you have the habits and you have the mindset so that they align together and that you can achieve your ideal physique. If you do want to hear more about my workouts and my training when it comes to how to actually apply these into achieving your ideal physique, check out my Instagram page below at jstroudfit. And if you are somebody that wants to hear, my process of training, I do have a video pinned below that explains, my process of the training, the nutrition, the mindset, etc., and how I help my clients go from point A to Z. Point Z being their destination. But that being said, that's really all I got for you guys today. And if you are somebody that wants to hear a bit more, you can click the link. You can follow my Instagram. But nonetheless, appreciate you guys staying to the end, and let's continue to get better every single day, because you are capable, bro.